Hey guys, it's Rowan from Study TV. With the lead up to exams, one of the common problems that I often find that students have is dealing with that decision of whether to complete your study notes or begin exam papers. Typically what I've often found is that students who haven't consistently prepared notes in the lead up to their exams often find themselves madly rushing to complete their study notes. And as a result, it means that they don't really have the time necessarily to study effectively and in depth for their exam because they're stuck making study notes. So what do? Should you complete your study notes or should you move on to exam questions? Really the answer is neither. If you haven't completed notes on a regular basis during the term and you've got a couple of weeks until your exams, you shouldn't actually necessarily spend the time creating study notes because it's going to take you a long time, and then by the time exams come you're going to have spent your time creating study notes rather than actually studying your notes and preparing. So I would not try to at this point necessarily create study notes. You're probably too late in the game to start from scratch. On the flip side, I wouldn't jump straight into exam past papers either. Why? I was working with a student a couple of years back and he decided that he would skip going over notes and learning material and go straight into exam papers as a way to prepare for his exam. He did loads and loads of papers, time conditions, got into the exam, finished feeling like he nailed it. Unfortunately, the marks that he got back were, they weren't great. They weren't bad, but they weren't great. And basically what had happened is he'd lost a mark here, a mark there across the whole paper, which, at the end of the day adds up to be quite a big chunk. And the feedback on the paper was essentially, well, look, you've answered the question, but not specifically enough. You haven't used the right terminology, you haven't got the right buzzwords, you're not quite there, you've missed a key point. Now, essentially, the reason this occurred was because the student in question hadn't spent the time to build a strong foundation of knowledge. So we'd skipped the step, which often is the step where you build your notes and you study them. And he'd gone straight into exam. So I don't recommend that you skip going over material or notes, whatever it may be, and work purely just on exam papers. Because what's essentially happening is that the answers you're practicing and putting down in the exam paper are not precise, they're not necessarily accurate enough, and you're repeating them in each of the papers that you make. So you're actually reinforcing inaccurate and imprecise information. So what should you be doing? At a minimum, see if you can get notes from the internet somewhere, or borrow some from a friend, because having a set of study notes will be ideal. If of course you can't do that, my recommendation is to get your study, your exercise book notes out from your class, get your textbook out and actually get the syllabus out and actually go through the dot points, find the relevant material in your textbooks and write it out, just dot points. Really, really simple, not word for word, just get the general gist, maybe draw some images, some flowcharts, some diagrams to get you thinking about it. It'll make your study highly active, which is important for memory retention. Once you've done that for the syllabus and you've built a bit of an understanding and an awareness, then move on and start looking at exam papers. So, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any specific questions that you'd like to see answered, please submit them in the comments or shoot me an email or a message. Please subscribe. We're going to have over 300 videos over the next year or so uploaded. So if you subscribe, you'll be able to stay in touch with all of the new video updates. All the best for those of you that are having exams, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.